Hello there and welcome to Black Jackal Gaming. Today we're going to go across the Kult of Speed Detachment because red is the fastest and this is the new Ork Codex. So this is really geared towards the speed freak unit, so you've got a lot of your buggies and the likes of those. And it's a solid detachment rule for keeping the weight of firepower active throughout the game and getting you close to your opponent. There's lots of ways to gain additional movement, which is always useful. And there's two very good stratagems for increasing your damage output. And it's a fairly durable detachment as well. But it is possibly not as strong as some of the other detachments, but it's definitely fun. Looking at the detachment rule, it's called Adrenaline Junkies, and this is for any speed freaks units in your army. So they will be eligible to shoot in a turn where they've advanced or fell back, so it allows you that additional movement throughout the game and still being able to carry on pumping out that weight of firepower. Over to the war gear enhancements. We first got the Was Blaster, so this is for the defkilla wartrike, and this is for the model only. So when you're in the shooting phase, after the bearer's unit is shot, if it's not an engagement range with any other enemy models, you can make a move of up to 6 inches with this model. It does until the end of the turn, then it's not eligible to declare a charge. Then we have Faster Than Use, so this is for Orks infantry models. So each time the bearer's unit disembarks from a transport after the transport has made a normal move, the bearer's unit is still eligible to declare a charge move. Then we've got Squig Hide Tires. Again, this is for the defkilla wartrike. Each time a model in the bearer's unit makes a consolidation move, it can move up to 6 inches instead of 3 inches. And then we have Speed Makes Right. Ork model only in your command phase if the bearer, or if it's in a transport, which is really useful, is within 9 inches of one or more enemy units. You get to roll a d6 on a 3+, you gain 1 CP, so a very nice enhancement to have. Over to the stratagems. First we've got the Speediest Freaks. So this is when your opponent is shooting or in the fight phase. So when you have a speed freak or a truck unit that's been selected, until the end of the phase, they get a 5-up and vulnerable save. And if they're toughness 8 or less, they get a very nice 4-up and vulnerable save, making you all the more durable. Then we've got Squig Blingin. This is in your movement phase after you ended a normal, advance or fallback. And this is for speed freaks or trucks. So if you have an enemy unit within 9 inches, you can make them take a battle shock test and you can subtract 1 from the result. Then we have got Daer Storm. This is your shooting phase, and this is for speed freak unit only. Ranged weapons within this unit gain sustained hits 1, and if you're within 9 inches, you get sustained hits 2, which is a very nice stratagem. But it does have a caveat that it cannot be included alongside the Blitzer Fire stratagem. So with that in mind, next we have the Blitzer Fire. Again, this is your shooting phase and for speed freaks only. This makes ranged weapons lethal hits, and when you're within 9 inches, you get those critical hits on a 5+, which is very nice. But again, you cannot use this with Daer Storm because that would be way too much. Then we have Full Throttle. This is in the charge phase after ending a charge move. This is for speed freaks only. All models in that unit gain +1 to their melee attacks when wounding an opponent. So that's very nice. That +1 to wound is going to allow you to do a lot of additional damage. Then we have More Git Over Ear. This is in your opponent's movement phase just after a normal advance or fallback move. If there's a speed freaks unit within 9 inches and not engagement range, this unit can make a 6-inch move. So this is quite nice if you're just trying to get yourself out of engagement range, out of charge range I should say, or you're trying to steal objectives or get on part of the board where you can score victory points in the next phase. So what buffs and combos do you have in place for this detachment? So the Warbikes are looking quite interesting, and they've got a couple of buffs you can put on them. So they come equipped as standard with the twin dagger guns and choppers. You can give a power claw to the knob, and they do have the ability to improve range and AP when within 9 inches, which is very nice, especially if you're combining this with those sustained hits too from the stratagem. So if you pair them with a defkilla wartrike, he comes with the boomsticks, the killer jet, and the snagger claw. And he also has the auto advance 6 inches and +1 to hit in melee, which is very nice considering you can advance and shoot. So when you're getting into that range where you're getting the additional AP, that's going to be very nice for the unit. And then you do have the potential use of the Daer Storm to give you sustained hits on 2, or the Blitzer Fire for your lethal hits on a 5+ within 9 inches. So if you're getting within 9 inches, you're going to be getting additional AP And then on top of that, you're going to have either sustained hits 2 or lethal hits on a 5+, which is very nice. Also, there is the option to use the full throttle to get your +1 to wound in melee. So if you do get into melee, you are getting that +1 to hit in melee from the defkilla wartrike, as well as +1 to wound, which is a very nice buff to have. This gives you the ability to move essentially 18 inches, making you really fast and mobile and get around the board. And you can also fire your weapons because you do have that ability. And then if you're in the war, if that's being called, you do then get to charge after you advance, and you get that +1 to your strength. So what you're essentially getting is up to 30 strength 5 -1 AP shots that are twin linked, so you reroll on that wound roll. You're getting sustained hits 2, and on a d6 you're auto hitting strength 5 -2 AP 1 damage shots from the wartrike. So you've got a lot of weight of firepower coming out of this unit. And then if you get them into melee, the war's being called, and you can advance and charge, then getting 24 strength 5 -1 AP 1 damage attacks, your 4 strength 10 -2 damage attacks, and then a further 5 strength 11 -2 AP 2 damage attacks. So this unit has a substantial amount of ranged and melee attacks that it can really push onto your opponent, especially when the war's being called. Plus, you've got to bear in mind that with full throttle, you're getting +1 to wound in melee, and the wartrike is giving you +1 to hit in melee. So not only do you have the +1 to hit and +1 to wound, you have the twin link shooting your guns before you go in. So you should be able to take out the majority of the game with this unit. So in conclusion, it does look like an interesting detachment. There's lots of speed, the ability to advance and fall back and still shoot, the stratagems and enhancements that give you extra ability to move, and then you got the likes of the wartrike that gives you the +6 inches, the automatic 6 inches on your advance. You've got a lot of ability there to get around the board. I feel like there's a lot of nuance in this detachment. It might not be the best out the gate. It's going to have a little bit of work and a little bit of tinkering to get the most efficiency out of it, because with having that high amount of movement and rate of firepower but relatively low AP, you are going to have to really play the game and play the objectives well, the primary and secondary, to win games whilst trying to put as much damage and pressure on your opponent at the same time. There's potential for a death bomb being dropped off from the battle wagon or stomper. There's lots of abilities in there where you can basically release a large unit of the durable boys or knobs or something along those lines straight into the heart of the enemy just to cause chaos. And there's lots of opportunity to use out of phase movement as well. This is really good to help you score victory points in your turn, either getting you out of charge range, moving you on to objectives, or moving you into the enemy's deployment zone to score things such as behind enemy lines. It's probably a bit weaker than some of the other detachments. Some of them are looking very good out the gate. In the majority of codexes, this would be a really good detachment to have, but with the strength of all the detachments in this codex, it's a little bit weaker than some of the others. And some of the units are a bit pricey for the damage output, so we'll have to see how effective it is on the tabletop. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel to see more content. Consider taking a membership if you want to support the channel, or head over to Patreon where I do a lot of blogging and post memes, and there's free membership there. Check out these videos, take it easy, I'll see you next time.